Boom! What up, ladies and gentlemen? Look, so many things going on in the world with AI just this week. But we got a good show for you guys today, talking about all the services that you can use to make your business better. So let's get this one started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life: prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone, because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Bros. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is revolutionizing the way we integrate AI. He's helped over 600 companies adopt an AI-first culture, enabling them to scale revenue, retain top talent, and create enterprise AI systems that pay for themselves in just 90 days. He is the mastermind behind Scalable Prompt Engineering and the AI Strategy Canvas. So please welcome the brilliant innovator, Mr. John Munsell. All right, John, now that the party started, welcome to the show.
You're a trip. That's a hoot. That is a hoot.
All right, man, let's do this thing. I kind of gave a brief intro as to what you do, but I'm sure you have a simpler way to explain this to business owners. So what do you do with AI? How are you helping business owners today?
Well, so if we go all the way back to what's the problem that I solve for business owners. So if you think about it right now, most people think AI was invented 2 years ago, right? And it's been around for a while. But that means that everybody's kind of figuring it out on their own. And inside of an organization, what you have is you have this fragmented use. So you have everybody kind of teaching themselves. Nobody has a cohesive way to learn or share or teach. And that means that everybody's doing it a different way. And even if they go out and they get some training, they all probably got different training, which means they've been taught a different way. And what they've been taught is what I call paragraph prompting. Right. It's just throw a whole bunch of words at it until we get what we want out of it. That doesn't really result in knowledge sharing, and it's not scalable. So that's what we do, is we go into organizations and we help everybody understand AI from what we would call a common language or a common framework. So they all kind of grip what has to go into a good AI prompt in order to get out the best results. But then we teach them how to structure that prompt so that it has what we would call hot swappable variables. So that means that somebody on this department over here could look at a prompt you created, swap out a variable, and that same prompt can create something completely different from them. And they don't have to start from scratch writing those word vomit prompts. So.
And the whole idea behind using ChatGPT is super awesome. People have been able to definitely help with a lot of copywriting and coding and things like that. But what you learn and what you're kind of emphasizing here is, if you ask it a generic question, you're going to get a generic answer. And the generic sounds cool, doesn't necessarily mean that a business can utilize that tool inside their organization. So you talked a little bit about helping, clarify, help prompt engineer things that would make it easier to use. What about a case study? What does it look like when it's actually being implemented in a business?
Okay, great question. All right, so look, we do virtually all of our meetings via Zoom, and a lot of companies are doing that. Are you familiar with note takers, AI note takers?
Yes. Okay,
so like we use Fathom, there's MeetGeek, there's a bunch of them. Are you familiar with little tools like this? This little thing is called
I've seen that one on my TikTok feed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Plowd note, Plaud. Some call it Plod note, but the company calls it Plowd, probably because they're in Europe. But anyway, so this little thing is literally the size of a credit card, but twice as thick. And we use it. Like if I'm leaving the office and I'm having a meeting with somebody, I just say, hey, you mind if I record it? I record it on this thing. It will create an instant transcript. I can take that transcript and I can analyze it and I can do a bunch of things, right? So whether you're having your meeting on Zoom and you're recording it with a note taker, or you're out somewhere in the field and you can record anything you want on these things. Let's just take a use case, about what do you do with a transcript? Depending upon whether you're dictating or you're having a meeting, there's a ton of information that you can get out of there. So let's just take it from the top. Let's say you're having a discovery call in sales, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it out of the marketing realm and apply it to a different area, because most people are thinking about, oh, well, I can write a blog post with it. But let's look at another use case. If I record a sales call with a prospect, and it takes me about an hour to really understand what the pains and problems and frustrations are, I now have a lot of information about that prospect, right? And that prospect, in the old days, I would have to write a proposal. I'd have to say, look, here are the things that you said were, problems with you. Here's how we're going to address it. Here's what heaven looks like when you fix all these problems. And here's our solution, right? So I have to put all that together in a proposal. With this, I can go. Are you familiar with what a custom GPT looks like?
Yes,
in,
absolutely.
say, ChatGPT? Okay, so inside of ChatGPT, we've created a ton of different custom GPTs, and one of them is a transcript analyzer. And what we do is we just literally just either upload or paste the transcript into that. So no prompt necessary, just paste, go. And it knows it's supposed to receive a transcript. So then it'll analyze that transcript, and depending upon which way I want it to go, it'll say, do you want to go give me a to-do list, or you want to do some other stuff? Well, I have it pull out all the pain points and everything else. But then I have another GPT that analyzes transcripts and tries to get all of the words that somebody said and create a personality profile on that person. So now I know how that person thinks. It's kind of like an Enneagram or a DISC profile that it will give me. So now I have that person, the way that person thinks, and what potentially are hot buttons. So I have another GPT that becomes that person. It's a persona. Okay. So then what I do is, because I have this transcript and I have another GPT that has everything about my company and all of our services and products and pricing and all that stuff, I take the transcript and then I have it pair off a solution for this person. And then I have it create a proposal. But then what I do is I have the personality emulator GPT read my proposal, come up with objections, come up with questions, and then I refine the proposal inside of ChatGPT doing that. And then it goes back and does it again, and it reads the new proposal as if it were the prospect, and it has more questions, more objections, and it refines the proposal one more time, and it goes the loop the third time. And by the time I have three, revolutions of that done, I have a proposal that hopefully meets every possible objection that a sales or that my prospect may have. Then I take another GPT and I craft the email that says, hey, I got your proposal ready. Here's some of the things that we addressed. When can we get together? Here's a link to my Calendly so we can schedule something.
John, come on, man. Like, first of all, like, one of the benefits of having a podcast and talking to professionals is you get to learn so many new cool tricks. So you're telling me that traditionally a salesperson would have a conversation with a client, jot down some notes, and get a little tiny skeleton of what this prospect actually wants, and is hopeful that they can then turn around and create a proposal that sort of meets the hopeful skeleton wants that they got from this client, and then still have to handle objections, and then still have to formulate an email. What you're saying is, I did one interview. I know more about how this client thinks, more about what this client wants. I craft a proposal that is fine-tuned specifically for this client in the tonality, in the format, in the thought process that that client potentially has. And then it crafts an email and actually sends the proposal out.
Oh,
You've
no.
exponentially, well, maybe not send it out.
I don't want to send the
prepared it.
proposal out. I don't want to send the proposal out. I want to schedule a meeting with them so I can go over the proposal, right? So, because I want to be in control of that. But in the old days, think of all the nuances that you miss in communication. Now, I wish it could analyze the verbal or the video part. Coming soon to a theater near you, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
but for now, we're kind of stuck analyzing the words. But if I miss a cue, because I'm busy taking notes, then I miss a clue to sell the deal. But AI won't miss it, right?
No, but what you're also doing is you're preparing that follow-up call to not just be a generic follow-up call to kind of get more information and overcome objectives. At this point, your salesperson who's going to meet with that person on the follow-up call has loads of ammo and is way better prepared to close the deal than anyone has ever been in the past.
Well, not only that, but think about that GPT that I had at reviewing the proposal and refining it is also the GPT that I would role play against as I'm trying to close the deal.
Oh my!
And because you can use voice, right, through Chat GPT on your phone, you just connect to that particular custom GPT and you start asking it questions and trying to close the deal. And you wait and see what it'll do. Right,
John, the reps that a salesperson can get in practice will make them exponentially better. Their closing ratio increases. I don't know how many countless times you've ever gone to sales training and how many times do they tell you practice, right? Find somebody to role play with. Find somebody. You're literally role playing with essentially that exact, but almost the exact same client that you're going to be talking to. How amazing is that? What kind of response are you getting from entrepreneurs when you present it that way?
Oh, well, it's actually, I'm in the process of finalizing my book. And this is a big chapter of the book where it talks about that specific process. We've only used it ourselves. I haven't really put it on to a customer, that entire workflow. But I have taught a lot of our students how to build GPTs that analyze the conversation and pick up those nuances. So like I got a client right now that I'm meeting with tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact, and we're going to go over that very thing. But think about this. Takes a little more doing, but you could literally take the recordings that you make over Zoom on these calls. I could clone that prospect's voice in HeyGen, or in 11 Labs. I can turn around and use that voice inside of a different AI. I couldn't go through ChatGPT, and I had to do a different thing where it would go back and forth, but it's now talking to me in that prospect's voice. So literally when I'm having the role play, I'm listening to that guy's voice. I mean, it's an interesting way to advance sales,
Oh,
it's way different from the old turn your back and you got two people in a room and one of them goes ring, ring, and the other one goes, hello, try to schedule an appointment. Yeah, it's a totally different animal now.
Well, I mean, it's not just revolutionizing the way, your sales process, but it's the way you can train salespeople. Like the fact that, again, not everybody's a natural born salesman. I for sure am not, right? And it takes a lot of practice and a lot of reps and getting in front of a client and you're not as prepared as you probably should be. You're not as well versed. You haven't had as many conversations. It's definitely a confidence issue that you might have in yourself. And that shows up in your presentations, whether you know it or not. Your confidence level shows up when you're speaking to a client. So having the ability to make these practice calls, to know exactly what the client's going to object with on a pretty accurate level those tools are dramatically helpful. I'll give you an example. I saw a quarterback. I think it's a quarterback of the Commanders now, but when he was in college, he took on this AI program where he would wear the goggles and basically simulate the exact game plan that the coach wanted to go through. And he would maybe watch 1,000 different reps on what the defense is probably going to do. And he's doing it in AI in this virtual reality sense. And he's doing it at 2x speed so that when he goes in the game, all of a sudden it's not 2x, it's regular speed, but it feels slowed down because he's had thousands and thousands of reps. It just makes him that much of a better athlete. And I feel like you're doing the exact same thing for salespeople here. You're giving them the opportunity to take rep after rep after rep so that confidence level goes up, so that their knowledge about what they're going to say, who they're going to say it to, and what they're presenting goes up. Dude, the close ratio has got to go through the roof after that.
Yeah, I would think it would increase. The other thing that it helps you do, it helps you be present in the meeting because a note taker is handling it all, right? You can play it back if you miss something. That's my favorite thing about it, is because in the past, I've been so busy writing notes that I completely missed something that was said, because I write slow.
Yeah.
And for this, they're like, I don't know, we've been using Fathom for well over 2 years now. So I have literally hundreds of meetings recorded in there. Those meetings are a real treasure trove of information. If I wanted to analyze my own techniques, right? I could just pull up 10 sales calls, analyze my own stuff, and say, what in the heck am I doing wrong? Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot you can do with all that.
I mean, programming your own GBTs is a phenomenal tool. I literally use it to show prep for the podcast myself. I mean, I created one. It's very simple. I enter, who's going to be on the show, what's their, LinkedIn, what's their URL for their website, and it will tell me everything I need to. Like, what should I title the show? What should my intro be? What are the top 10 questions I should probably ask this particular? It's all just prepared for me. I don't have to use anything from there, but it's an ability for me to really break down and get to know who's going to be on my show without me having to dig through and search all this stuff. Like, those GBTs are powerful. And, the way you described it, I'm like, man, I can make another one and take it to step 2. And I can take another one and take it to step 3. And I'll take you one further. We use a CRM called Go High Level. It has the ability. Okay. So about AI, conversation AI is built in. So to take those GBTs and then build it within there, all of a sudden you can have an AI that's making, outbound calls or taking inbound calls or handling and booking appointments or upselling your stuff. I mean, what you can do with it is kind of endless. That is what opens up the scalability, right?
Yeah. And if you use tools like CassidyAI.com or Respell.ai, which just got bought out by Salesforce, you can actually string together, go in and out of all those GPTs so that it happens the minute you get off the call. Your GPT or your workflow is triggered, right, from Fathom's API, and it goes through that whole process. So by the time you get off the call, you go to the bathroom, you come back, boom, you got your proposal and the email ready to go. I mean, that's pretty insane. That would never have happened 2 years ago, right?
No way. And things are just getting better and crazier. I mean, over the weekend, I don't know if you saw that China launched their DeepSeek, and that kind of tanked NVIDIA today and tanked Microsoft today. Honestly, my personal opinion, we're still going to need those chips. So if anything, right now, those stocks are on sale. So, and no investment advice. I'm not an investment advisor. Just saying what I'm probably going to be doing here is buying some stuff on a discount. But what do you think that's going to do to the AI market as far as any changes that we might look into or try to test out?
It's kind of funny you should say that. So first of all, they banned TikTok, right? Temporarily, because they thought it was spying on the American public. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I don't think it's that much.
They don't want us talking to each other.
Facebook does or anything else. I think the real thing is that they wanted to control what is said over TikTok, and they also found that TikTok's paying creators a hell of a lot better than YouTube and all those. But when it comes to AI, I can't see myself ever putting an AI tool that I know is made in China on my machine. That's like saying, this is a virus. Sure. This is the smartest virus on earth. You don't even know it's a virus. I'm going to put it on my thing and it'll phone home all day long. I mean, that's the dumbest thing I could ever imagine. I don't know how you can quarantine off your machine tight enough to do something like that. But I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I can't see myself installing that on my machine. I mean, I was looking at my, we use Microsoft 365. I'm looking at my Microsoft 365 account, and no less than 3 times a day, I get a failed login attempt from various parts of the world, typically from China or somewhere there. And I was like, dang, why does this keep going on? And then I get the same thing with our website and everything else. And we have my bookkeeper's account got hacked. They sent an email to one of our clients, said, hey, we need to change our ACH information. Can you send me an ACH form? They sent the ACH form. This guy had hacked her account so that stuff got hidden. He, assuming it was a he, got that stuff, filled out the form, changed the bank account, somehow got my exact signature, put it on the form, and emailed it back to the client. You think I'm going to let a Chinese AI on my machine when a hacker?
No way.
No, sorry.
What about what was the name of the new? It's like $200 a month that ChatGPT launched. Operator, right? What do you think of that? I mean, that's obviously super cool the way it kind of plays out. And where do you see it coming here in the near future?
Well, I mean, agentic AI is here, and it's going to just get crazier and crazier. I still have my reservations. I think what agentic AI will do is increase the demand for AI security like you've never seen before. Because the minute you let an AI tool into your machine and you give it access to your bank accounts and your passwords and everything else, I'm not sure how far your pants are down, but they're pretty damn far back down.
No,
So
I didn't think of it like that, but you're absolutely right. You at what point is it you, and at what point is it the extension of you? Where does the liability fall? Things happen with credit cards all the time. There are fraudulent activities, but it's usually a human in human. What happens when you let your AI do something and it makes a mistake? Are you at fault? I mean,
right. Yeah, and where does that information go? I even using Google's AI Studio, which is fascinating if you've ever played with that, and let it watch your screen and coach you through how to use Photoshop or something like that. That's really cool. But all of those things are monitoring your entire screen, every single pixel. So I don't know. Like, for instance, this thing. You know what this is?
What is that?
This is
looks like an old 8-track tape.
It looks that way, doesn't it? It's a Rabbit R1. Okay, so
I've
the
heard
Rabbits
of one
came
of
out.
those.
Yeah, it came out the first part of last year. I opened it, played around with it, and this is the second time in 12 months I've opened it. So because it's supposed to be, an agent, you could tell it to do certain things, like order you a pizza, and it would do it. But to me, it's a device that's nothing more than a couple of cheap parlor tricks, but it's a keystroke locker. I don't, and it's got roots in another country, so it's too much of a risk for me right now, but no doubt that's where things are headed, but they're really going to have to address the security side of this. I'm just not comfortable, giving it access to all that stuff. Because again, I've heard that these things are so good in what they can detect. They can literally hack your password by listening to your keyboard.
Oh,
so
that's
think
about
scary. That. Yeah, that's really scary. That's really scary.
Well, John, you've shared some great techniques and tools that people can use right now in their business just to improve, even if it's just your sales skills, even if you're a solo entrepreneur trying to get better, trying to close more deals. The strategy that you put together is phenomenal for at least doing that. If people want to reach out and find out more about what it is you do, how they can get a hold of some of your GPTs that you've created or the system that you've created, how can they do that?
Well, hey, thanks for asking. I tell you what I will do, and I don't know when this thing is going to air, but my book, hopefully, will be out in the next week, and it's going to explain how to do all of this stuff. And if your people will go to bizzuka.com, that's bizzuka.com/ingrain, because that's the name of the book, Ingrain AI, but ingrain/INGRAIN. And they tell me they heard it on Business Bros podcast, then I will send them a digital copy of the book for free.
Cool. I'm going to have that scrolling across the bottom right there. So bizzuka.com/ingrain. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, AI is here to stay, and this is only the beginning. And ChatGPT is a phenomenal tool, but if you're not using it right, it's not going to get you the results you're looking for. And literally, John showed you with a couple GPT set up, you can turn around your sales game super quickly, impress your clients, close more deals, and make more money. And if you want to know how, he's got his book launching really soon, bazooka.com/ingrain, bazooka.com/ingrain, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. John, I mean, at the end of the day, people need to improve in certain skills because AI is going to be coming for some of the mundane, regular tasks that are out there. You're helping entrepreneurs kind of develop these skills. When your book launches, what's probably one of the most important chapters you feel that they should go right into and be like, if you only have a certain amount of time to read this, this is the section you need to go to?
Yeah, I wish I could remember what chapter number it is, but certainly part one, because it's 6 parts. And it's about how do you ingrain an AI first culture into your organization. And part one is about establishing that common framework. So it gives you a little bit of everything. And then you can skip over to the scalable prompt engineering part, which I think is part 3 or 4. 5 and 6 get into more other advanced topics, but that's what I would do.
All right, ladies and gents, use ChatGPT like a pro. John's showing you all the techniques to use it correctly and help your skills in the sales game go up and up and up. One more time, bazooka.com/ingrain, bazooka.com/ingrain. Any last minute thoughts before we head out here, John?
No, man, all I can tell you is, everybody says that you'll not lose your job to AI, but you'll lose it to somebody who knows how to use AI. I'm trying to get companies to keep their employees and teach them how to use AI, because I think that's a lot better fix for a company. So those are my parting thoughts. Upskill your employees, don't lay them off.
That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, human first, but you got to use the AI tools because they definitely help. All right, y'all, that's all we got for you guys today. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home.
Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast, but not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz to get started today.